welcome to Explain a Lovecraft Badly, in which I, Hannah Kubiak, explain a Lovecraft badly. I have read a lot of these Lovecraft stories, but I started to forget which ones I'd actually read because a lot of them were kind of similar. It was like, I am a sickly little dude from the East Coast and I saw some creepy shit that drove me insane. So I needed a way to keep this straight. And the only way that I could think to do that was to deface a book. I'm an annotator. I annotate my books. And so the table of contents here, each story that I have read has one or two little sort of taglines on it, like a newspaper article title. For example, the last one that I did was "The Beast in the Cave. Local spelunker attacks cave dweller with a rock," which is basically what happened. So basically what I'm going to be doing is explaining the complete works of H.P. Lovecraft in a stupid way, one story at a time. So today we're going to be looking at a story called The Alchemist. Man defies laws of time and space for a murderous prank. There's a theme of ancestral doom here. It's basically about a family curse, and it follows Count Antony de Redacted, the last surviving member of an ancient and very unlucky noble family. For 600 years, every male heir of his line has died on his 32nd birthday, which puts a damper on planning any long-term, plans of any kind. Mortgages, marriages, mustaches. So he grows up in this ruined, half-haunted castle, and he only has his faithful servant Pierre, and he looks over all of the crumbling manuscripts and legends about his family's curse, and finds that the guy who placed this curse was named Charles Le Sorcier, which I guess translated into English is Charles the Sorcerer, which is what I will be calling him from now on. Anthony's ancestor burned Charles the Sorcerer at the stake, but before dying, the sorcerer declared, "My vengeance shall not fail." Honestly, that's exactly the kind of thing that you should take seriously in a Lovecraft story, but of course, Count Anthony de Redacted does not know he's in a Lovecraft story, so we can't really fault him for that. So he's still, knocking about in that old castle, just obsessing about his family curse and not really trying to do anything else with his life. He's like, which, fair. That's basically what I've been doing this entire time. I'm 32 and I haven't done anything of meaning in my life. Discontented millennial. I don't even own a home. I will never own a home. Although this guy, Anthony, owns a home. Stop complaining, Anthony. You own a castle. I hear some strange sounds in remote corridors, and it wouldn't be a Lovecraft story without poor lighting and some terrible architectural decisions. So he's following a noise, and he finds this hidden chamber, and he meets this old man. This dude, Anthony, throws his torch at the creature, the guy, and the man catches fire, and basically, it turns out that Charles the Sorcerer didn't die by fire. He found some alchemical secrets, an immortality potion, and spent the past 600 years murdering the family line one by one. And frankly, that is a level of commitment rarely seen outside of grad school. This story features one of Lovecraft's favorite themes, which is ancestral sin, and it's here in full force. There's also a relative that Anthony has never met, made one bad choice centuries ago, and there's instant doom stalking him, literally. There's this old man sneaking into his family house to kill people, often featured in Lovecraft. Poor architectural decisions. The castle is drafty, hazard-ridden, just a spooky setting. And honestly, if OSHA had existed in the Middle Ages, the De Redacted family would have been shut down before their first heir could toddle into a pit trap. The villain's plan, the murdering one heir every 32 years for 6 centuries, spent 600 years stalking this family, It's the most patient revenge in the history of fiction. Like, buddy, have you considered a hobby? I guess murder was his hobby. In typical Lovecraft fashion, the protagonist solves absolutely none of his problems through science, reason, or therapy. He just kind of walks down a dark hallway and hears suspicious noises. And for once, this actually works out. Usually, people who wander down dark hallways where they hear suspicious noises end up face to face with some sort of eldritch horror that deprives them of their reason, and they end up in Arkham Asylum, along with everybody else that Lovecraft has ever written about, except for this guy apparently. So, time to go down the rabbit hole. I created a little traveler's companion to questionable paths towards immortality. If you've decided that the normal human lifespan is simply too short for your ambitions, your grudges, or unfinished creative projects, worry not. Humanity has spent millennia experimenting with ways to avoid death, and although none of them have worked, some have almost worked, and that's something, at least. So here's a few various paths to immortality that people have tried, ranked by effectiveness, the side effects that you will experience, legality, and the likelihood of spontaneous combustion, which I guess is also a side effect. So, first of all, there's alchemical remedies. So, sort of like the drink this, you might live forever. So, its effectiveness has been found to be 1 out of 5 stars. There are some side effects: mercury poisoning and glowing slightly in the dark. So, throughout civilizations and time periods, alchemists have concocted various elixirs that could make you immortal, or they could at least make you very smug about your spiritual prospects. These concoctions often include rare herbs, precious metals, and toxic minerals. Each of these elixirs comes with a warning label. If the elixir shimmers unnaturally, do not drink it. If the elixir does not shimmer, do not drink it. If the elixir is a strange color, do not drink it. If the elixir is a normal color, do not drink it. If the elixir looks delicious, do not drink it. If the elixir looks gross, do not drink it. Another one is religious immortality, where you die first and live forever later. Some of the side effects is it requires a lot of faith and devotion and rule following. Very difficult and kind of boring if you're especially when compared to chugging mercury. It takes a long time. Most of the time, just drinking mercury, you're done and you live forever, or what usually happens is you die immediately. There are many traditions that decided that physical bodies are overrated, and instead they pursued eternal life of the soul. So this method is actually extremely reliable, but it requires you to die first, which many immortality enthusiasts consider kind of a downside. Pros of this: no toxic metals are involved, and you have to do very little paperwork. The cons: bodily immortality is not included, and the quality of your afterlife may vary. Forbidden magic. It comes at a very high risk of summoning horrors beyond time and space. So throughout history, mages, witches, and sorcerers have attempted to sort of dodge mortality by binding their souls to objects, which kind of requires a lot of maintenance, and it's kind of annoying to upkeep. The downside is basically, if anyone who wants to kill you, they simply have to find the object, and they have to, like, metaphorically or literally drop your life into a blender. It's very, I think it actually makes you easier to kill. Like, it would be easier to grab an object and destroy it than to grab you and destroy it. You could also make a pact with an unfriendly god, or perform a ritual in a circle that's drawn just slightly wrong. These methods occasionally succeed, but the immortal practitioner, they typically become gaunt, unpleasant, and allergic to direct sunlight. Whether that's magical or due to personality is unclear. My favorite: ascetic longevity. Starve slightly, live eternally. As far as effectiveness goes, we give that this 2 out of 5 stars. The side effects include enlightenment, smugness, and extreme thinness. Your friends will eternally be saying, "You look great," all things considered. Some ancient monks sought immortality by purifying the body so thoroughly that it stopped noticing it was alive. So they did a lot of meditation, fasting. Advanced practitioners were able to basically mummify themselves, cause yourself to become a mummy while still alive, and then you die. The process, it guarantees being admired by future tourists, and it's its own way of living forever. If you think about it that way, it's not recommended for those who enjoy snacks, but it is ideal for those who enjoy a feeling of smug superiority. These all sound really, really ancient and not really plausible today. We have technology now. What about modern immortality? First of all, you could pursue cryogenic freezing. You have to be legally dead first, so bribing a doctor is the first financial hurdle to go through. Here's sort of the process of how that happens. The water in your body will be replaced by a cryoprotectant, which ensures that your cells won't be shredded by ice crystals, because cryoprotectant doesn't freeze into crystals like water does. You may elect to have your entire body preserved or just your head. They don't just flash freeze you over several days. Your body is cooled first to the temperature of dry ice, which is negative 79 degrees Celsius. And what is that in Fahrenheit? What's that in American? Let's see, let me. Celsius, negative 79 is negative 110.2 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's the temperature of dry ice. And then you are cooled to the temperature of liquid nitrogen, which is negative 196 degrees Celsius, negative 320 degrees Fahrenheit. You will be stored upside down to keep the head cool, even if nitrogen levels drop. So that's just, I guess if your body thaws by accident or something and they just have your head, when they revive you, they can give you a partial refund. Now, don't think that this is something that you would not be able to afford. You don't have to be a billionaire. Typical costs range from $30,000 just to preserve your head to $100,000 to preserve your whole body. Despair not. You don't have to be a billionaire to become the disembodied head that rules as God Emperor 3,000 years from now. Cryonics may not revive you, but it will keep you very cold and very expensive. And like those guys who mummified themselves, you will be admired for your determination. The downside of being freezed cryogenically is that you have to pay a monthly subscription, or they will no longer keep you frozen. You'll be evicted if you do not set up automatic payments every month. So do that before you freeze yourself. Occasionally, some people, they decide that instead of preserving their body, they're just going to write their consciousness onto 37 hard drives and put it in a shed or a mobile home. And all I can say is that hopefully you can elect not to back up unwanted or useless data, like the hundreds of episodes of SpongeBob you can recite from memory, and like everything you got up to in middle school. So a few things that do not grant immortality include eating exotic animals, hoarding crystals, being really, really, really annoying, saying "I refuse to die" forcefully, or inspirational podcasts. Immortality, like assembling flat pack furniture, looks simple in the instructions, but it becomes troublesome in practice. And remember that living forever is easy, but living well forever is the real challenge.